Hi, everybody. Okay. And we are on 2063. 2063, or is it 64? I tell you. Okay, let's see if I'm on. And it looks like it. I know I'm late. 63. 2063. See if I can see myself. Okay, so we are on, thank you so much. We are March 27th, 2026, 2063 days. Thank you, Laura, for coming on. Since Richard was forcibly removed from his barracks room there on Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas, because he was a whistleblower, and they took, this is on Fort Bliss in the arms room, um, right in his building, and they took his life and they stole his body then off of Fort Bliss, and trafficked it to Juarez for disposal. Evidence indicates it's at Plenitude Crematorium, what's left of him, because um, there was also evidence of dismemberment and organ harvesting. Just horror, absolute horror. But the more and more information that's coming out, which is from the very hard work of President Trump, none of this would be coming out unless the pressure was corroborated, because of course we have been filing and reporting, which causes a pressure to drive accountability. And everybody's sharing, and all of our numbers. We've reached 49,000 followers now, headed to 50,000, which is uh, very, very great news. And we just want to say thank you so much to everybody, because this is your sharing and your following and your liking and your comments and everything is what will drive accountability. They will be driven to give us accountability. And because of we are a country of the people, by the people, and for the people. They haven't taken that away from us yet. And you see that because they spend so much money on elections, don't they? And they also commit so many crimes tampering with elections, and or trying to move the populace mind, to try to mind control us. If our voice didn't matter, if our thoughts didn't matter, if our vote did not matter, they wouldn't spend the effort and the money that they do. So they would absolutely just be, total, uh, uh, I guess, treasonous, right? Treasonous. They would just, no, be, what is the word I'm looking for? When you're just like it's not even a king. It'll come to me. So anyway, our voice matters, our vote matters, our what we think about matters, and they try to drug us. They try to divert our attention. They try to hypnotize us with other information. They lie to us. They impersonate. They are like the ultimate impersonators. And, today's news is just absolutely incredible. And I'm going to try to go through it because yesterday was just absolutely jaw dropping, because Bertha Duarte Fong was arrested. she was arrested. Can you believe it? And, they're going to try to manipulate that whole case, but she has violations in the United States. So, even though Maru Campos, the governor for Chihuahua, jumped the gun, I want everyone to know that Bertha um, uh, Duarte Fong, who is the wife of César Fong, was arrested in El Paso. Okay, she was arrested in El Paso, Texas, in the United States, and they're freaking out and going to try to manipulate this case because she she of course is a big player to the philanthropist. She's a connection with the philanthropist. Remember how they were rebranding, trying to rebrand JE as a philanthropist? Well, these are the philanthropists of the El Paso Mormon faction. Um, Criminal, terroristic um, organizations. You could call them cartel. They are absolutely up to no good. Absolutely up to no good. And, and have no heart at all. And so for this arrest, it is huge and it is international news everywhere because it is connected to the main operators of the pipeline, the trafficking pipeline, the embezzlement pipeline. And what do I mean by embezzlement? Taking taxpayer money and um, paying themselves. And we know that Maru Campos got her wealth through corruption and embezzlement. And I posted up a proof. It's just the tip of the iceberg, y'all. That little paper is just the tip of the iceberg because the embezzlement was so much. Oh, it's so much. It's going to blow your mind. It's going to, we already have the fraud patrol in the United States, right? Where they are absolutely going after all the fraud. Well, that is Bertha Fong. The amount of embezzlement that she did in Mexico, and then to bring that over to El Paso. Because where are you going to go? You're in Chihuahua City, you're in Ciudad Juarez. Um, uh, the next place is El Paso, Texas. And so that's where they brought their money and that's where they bought businesses. And I'm talking about businesses like oil and gas businesses, like steel businesses, like bars, like strip joints, right? Like strip joints, like restaurants, like uh, funeral homes, like funeral home businesses. They bought politicians. They affected the elections because they wanted protection and to protect their criminal network, even across the border. They had to corrupt and compromise the officials. And that included compromising our military. Okay. And that's where Richard came in. He was on the base and they were trying to compromise, ruination, right? Ruination, our young people. No wonder our young people, uh, you know, have a hard time of it because they're targeted. They're targeted, and our soldiers on Fort Bliss were targeted. Not to, because I just the video I have in my mind is of Asia Graham. I think Asia Graham's video when she was coming into the military and speaking to her mother, it just and I wish I had that real handy, but I have it in my brain by memory. Her standing there, just so hopeful, just so ready to serve, so excited, right? And she had told her mom, "Look, it's going to be so great." Her father had passed away. She could help out her family. She was so excited to join the military and be part of the forces um, that protect the Constitution of the United States, that stand for something. And then she was um, stationed at Fort Bliss, and this is just like Richard, just aspiring to do something really great. And then they're brought to Fort Bliss, and who's targeting them? Um, Madams for hookers, right? Drug dealers, um, uh, cartel agents with weapons and ammunition, and they they just target with everything, with alcohol, with parties. I mean, my goodness, the command sergeant major Jake Jáquez told me to my face that Major General Clem Coward and him himself, Command Sergeant Major Jake Jáquez, brought in young girls to the barracks to party with the soldiers during a lockdown, and we heard that these were many, and they were very willing um, creatures with they would call them even mules, packing all kinds of contraband, you know, and um and they were getting access to our base through the passes that were given by Director of Emergency Services Thomas Kane. And we know that Thomas Kane was up to no good, right? We know that he admitted to the tampering of the video cameras, that um, that he knew a lot about what happened to Richard, uh, and I'm going to leave it at that. But he was absolutely he's a suspect. He's a big suspect in all of this. And what a creep! What a creep! What a absolutely worse than a creep, a monster. And to set up our soldiers like that. For the command sergeant major and for the general to set up to compromise, try to frame our soldiers so that they could um, embezzle, right? Embezzle and profit off of the trafficking pipeline, the theft of weapons and ammunition and equipment and vehicles and everything, loads of weapons, y'all, even um, explosives, uh, grenades, uh, all y'all, all kinds of stuff. They were absolutely stealing, and then selling in the black market or trafficking or whatever. And then, of course, the children trafficking, we know, and lots of young girls. Um, and of course the drugs, that is to also compromise, keep it illegal so they can compromise. And I'm all for keeping it illegal, y'all. I'm all for keeping it illegal. um, because I know I've been to Holland. I've been to Holland. There's the experiment. There's the experiment if you want to legalize it, and of course Colorado too, there's the experiment. It doesn't come out very nice, does it? It doesn't come out. We all need a mommy and daddy. We all need a mommy and daddy to tell us, no, no, you're not allowed to do that. No, no, you can't do that. You're going to get in trouble. Yeah, because we just haven't learned self-governance and self-restraint, and there's too many people that want to take advantage of the weaknesses of others and ourselves. So yeah, it doesn't turn out really good at all. And of course, you have beautiful Richard. Um, absolutely red flags, his spidey senses, of course, he's a black belt in karate. We're coming out like, oh, we're being framed. We're being framed with these young girls that are just like, where are they coming from? Right? And they're packing all kinds of stuff. Their mules are packing all kinds of stuff. Why is this happening? Where's my leadership? We're supposed to be a fighting force, right? A fighting force ready to go. What is going on here? You know, it doesn't do the Constitution any good if we're just all drunk and high and up to no good with young girls and doing other things that are terrible. Uh, you know, this was the lack of leadership, lack of discipline, and it was so egregious and so on purpose, so intentional that something else was going on. And of course, we know that with Zorro Ranch. We know that that was prime property on the bordering of the North call up of White Sands Missile Range, the largest restricted airspace in the world, that they could, without being detected, traffic with their planes. And these are philanthropists, so they have the planes. And then there are 501c3s, and then they with their businesses and everything, they and their contracts, they make the taxpayer pay for all of it too. On top of that, they're very financially clever like that, how to embezzle, how to commit fraud, how to exploit the country they live in, and other countries are very savvy about how to be a devil, right? How to be a devil and impersonate and commit fraud and all the worst vices there are that devils do. And so, we know that it was prime property and that it went absolutely into Mexico and across Central America and into the into the um, islands, right? Cuba and Haiti and Dominican Republic. Oh, remember that with all the visas. They were given all these visas, right? To the Iranians, to Chinese, coming really close to the border and getting over into the border and into the United States. These Trojan horses. And then once they're in the States, they had a great example. They had Maru Campos, how to embezzle, how to exploit, how to clean the money up through buying businesses and property, and then really, hey, Bertha Fong, how do you really do it? Oh yeah, you got to get yourself a strip joint, then you can do all kinds of things all in one. Um, you've got to get a ranch right beside Mr. J.E. because, he's figuring out how to live forever. So you never have to face judgment, right? You never have to face judgment if you're friends with J.E. because he's going to let you live forever through this transhumanism. And also, um, uh, the most uh, the most ridiculous promises Ponzi scheme. Absolutely. Uh, yeah, that that involved the most evilest crimes, okay, which we have with, let's see if I can play it. Is it on? Doesn't seem to be on. See if I can play it. Yep. The sound doesn't want to be on. If I can get her here now. Oh, I'll try to do it tomorrow. But it is Gabriella, and she is absolutely a witness to the worst type of crimes. And I'll try to get that up tomorrow because I think it's really important because these people absolutely have done the most atrocious crimes. And today, the breaking news is these death threats, right? These death threats that are going out to Julian LeBaron, LeBaron LeBaron. I don't know, tomato. I don't know how he pronounces it. I should look, but this is who he is. Let me see. I can play him.
Si lo hacemos, financiamos cuando menos otros 3
This is
secuestros.
the
Yo
brother that was
absolutamente no
killed,
pago
and
un
here is
secuestro.
Julian
Ni por favor quiero que lo paguen por mí.
LeBaron.
Si yo tendré que dar mi vida, mis hijos, lo haré para vivir en principios correctos.
Nosotros estamos diciendo ni un secuestro.
Okay, so I'll just do a few minutes of it, and you might want to, now that you saw where you can find it, you can watch the whole thing. But this is important because Julian LeBaron is running for the governor of Chihuahua, okay? Because Maru Campos is coming to the end. And Maru Campos, let's say, see this, oh my goodness, she is in big trouble, y'all. She's in big trouble. And I'm going to read through what is going on in Chihuahua, Mexico. Now, if you're an American and you're like, well, what does that have to do with me? That doesn't have anything to do with me. That has everything to do with you because they've come across the border. They've come across the border and they have bought businesses and property illegally, and they have bought politicians, and they have bought judges, and they have bought DAs, and it is very important for all Americans to understand because this is the very same group that infiltrated, that embedded itself in our military on Fort Bliss and took my son's life, our son's life, right? Our hero, Richard Halliday's life. Absolutely. And so this is very important for all Americans. And also, Mexico is our neighbor. Mexico is our neighbor. I mean, we've given all this money to Ukraine, right? And Mexico is under total assault. They absolutely are a narco state right now. It is absolutely, I have to read what they are going through right now that is coming across the border. This is so important that Americans pay attention to what's happening in Mexico right now and on our southern border. President Trump was so right. He was so right. Now, I don't expect anybody to be perfect. But let me tell you, President Trump is just as near as you come to it. He's just as near as you come to it. I'm not joking. It is unbelievable from the very day that he came down that escalator and said, I am going to build a wall and make Mexico pay for it, was not a ding on Mexico at all, because we have a huge trade deficit with Mexico. We love factories in Mexico and we buy their products, and we have a trade deficit. So that is not what he was saying. He was saying there is a problem at the border with these violent criminals that are philanthropists, that are absolutely making alliances with the cartel to threaten our national security, to not only threaten our national security, but to take over the positions that are supposed to be watchmen for our national security. Like Connell Wetton, right? Like Connell Wetton. He is so part of this Mormon faction cartel group, criminal group. And he is in a very, very important position, being the assistant special agent in charge of the FBI right there on the border in El Paso. Leaking, he's responsible for leaking uh, our son's identity, because Richard was a whistleblower. He could only want to leak Richard's identity if Richard was submitting reports, right? And was an official whistleblower. And so, you don't even have to doubt that at all, because Connell Wetton was leaking Richard's identity to the cartel. And that is how, El Mayo was like, okay, Ray Velarde, my lawyer, I know, I'm the biggest client, but there is a client that you've got to, the little guy, a little guy, but he is the key to everything. You've got to go find out what he knows. Go and find out what he knows. And Ray Velarde went, the attorney for El Mayo, the billionaire, went and did counterintelligence with Richard, meeting Richard, and shortly thereafter, Richard was killed. So, what Connell Wetton did, and of course the infiltrated cartel on Fort Bliss, what they did to our soldier, our son, a whistleblower, is really an act of war. An act of war. That's what they did. And so that's why this is so important for Americans. And listen to what is going on uh, in Mexico right now. You have public rage boiling over. You have hashtags all over Chihuahua, Mexico, saying, "Oh, what a uh, uh, dung uh, it is to be Maru. What slop it is to be Maru. What throw up it is to be Maru. What, yeah, she has to go. One of us has to go. That's what they're saying, because she is so corrupt. And we know that by the evidence that we have. And one of those pieces of evidence we just posted again. We posted it in December. We're posting it again, of her embezzling 400,000 pesos. So, yeah, you heard me say it. In one go, 400,000 pesos. And what is she doing? Building a $31 million mansion right now. As I give my live stream, she is picking out wallpaper. She is, maybe it's gold trim. Maybe it's gold trim. $31 million, right? $31 million for this house. Yeah, she is so corrupt and they know it. Um, and there is a daily cartel slaughter on her watch. Bodies, highway executions, fire bombed gas plants, all kinds of wars between the worst type of worst cartel groups. There is a lack of authority on full display. People are placing their furniture in the middle of the road to block the road. Okay. So you can't get to work. You can't, unless you want to go through a big hassle, right? A teenager life was taken during her breakfast event. A 14-year-old girl, they have something with this 14, okay? This 14-year-old girl, they start really grooming at the age 14. I'm not joking. It's all about these 14-year-old girls. I don't know what they have with this 14. I don't know if it's a Mormon faction thing. I really don't. But there's something at 14. There's something at 7. There's something at 8. And there's something at 14. And it's just really creepy. The 14-year-old girl has been kidnapped and murdered during Maru Campos's own public breakfast event. Can you believe that? And then another one was dumped right in front of her, um, during a security meeting. The body was dumped right in front of her. Um, and I call it her mother's plenitude crematorium here, because her mother had oversight of that crematorium, Plenitude Crematorium. And but she's an associate of the owner, Rosa Maria Purchase Arliano Caron, and they could operate in the most vile, disgusting, um, uh, situation there, rat infested, everything, no permit, no license. It's no water, no running water. Yeah, just really no air condition, no air condition there. And that is, of course, where we believe they, disposed of our son. And uh, and I'm supposed to keep very calm when I say that. So, yes, the Halliday remains scandal. This is a very brutal, vicious negotiation for the repatriation of our son's remains. This is what this is. Because what is Maru Campos doing? It shouldn't be a problem at all for all of the victims for the Plenitude Crematorium. Over 400 bodies. They should be right on there, but no, it's a delay, and tampering. Home invasions and kidnappings are happening in Chihuahua. That's been confirmed. And a cathedral, they don't even have respect for anything holy, not anything sacred. They stripped it, thieves just stripped it down and left the cathedral in total darkness. All the wires, because the wires are copper, right? They're stripping. And all the while, Miss Embezzle Maru Campos, under César Duarte, the king of embezzlers, okay, with his queen of embezzlers, Bertha Fong, um, and their children. Okay, so that is what is another breaking news here, that the Duarte's children, so Bertha Fong and her husband Cesar Duarte, their children are under investigation right now. So they could be also next in line to be arrested. Maru Campos, she looks like, you know, she's looking at an arrest. I don't know if it's going to happen. Please share this information. The document about her embezzling $400,000 pesos. That's really important to share. Get this information out because then we can drive them to arrest her, just like we need Lalani Hart arrested. We need a Lalani Hart arrested. So when people say, how can we help you? We'll get the story out about Lalani Hart, push it, demand for her arrest. Same thing with Maru Campos, because look at what is going on in Chihuahua. There's no authority there. She has lost control of the great and beautiful state of Chihuahua, Mexico. That absolutely impacts Fort Huachuca, Fort Bliss. Its borders right on there and into the United States. And that's why this is so important for us, and for you to share all this information. We don't monetize, so all of it is just free to share with everybody to get this information out, especially to President Trump, especially to, you think they know everything, they don't know everything. We have to drive them to take action there at the border. So, and he's been doing a great, far more than any other president has done, with all these arrests and the shakeup with the whole cartel. And they are embedded in our military, embedded in our judicial system, embedded in our politics. And so now it makes all sense to you, to me, why they came after President Trump so hard. And the way they came after President Trump so hard, it makes sense. And also in our 501c3s, which, um, and I wanted to put it up because I don't know. It's the National Human Rights for the Border. The Border National, is it BN Human Rights HR, BNHR, or NBHR? But it's the National Border for Human Rights. That board is what Veronica Escobar sits on. She presides over that 501c3. It is absolutely just a imposter. It is just it's just a way to cover for their evil deeds to um, get to migrants and exploit them. That's what that is. And they could argue that with me, but they were in a scheme to with Benito Torres to pose as or get the ICE to think that they were part of a law firm or a lawyer or a paralegal or a staff member so that they could try to smuggle in contraband into the federal detention facility. And yeah, so they were in a scheme with that organization. And that's how, we absolutely know that Veronica Escobar knew and consented to Benito Torres's very illegal actions as masquerading as a lawyer illegally and trying smuggling contraband into the detainees. She absolutely knew because she, as a board member, has to give approval for the scheme to impersonate uh, being a member of a law firm, being a lawyer, or staff or paralegal. In this case, Benito Torres was masquerading as a lawyer 11 times. 11 times, y'all. So, yeah, it is. And the smuggling of contraband phones to the detainees to put everyone around them at danger, because if they can communicate and they are violent offenders, that's why they're in there, and of course being with others that are just uh, broke our legal immigration laws, they're really endangering everybody by setting this monster loose um, in the detention center. Absolutely. Yeah. So so that's big news there. So is Maru Campos going to be next? Also, um, we have Julian LeBaron or Labaron. Uh, you have to read his family. Uh, is a Mormon faction family that is from Arizona and Utah, went over the border and settled there. Poor Chihuahua, because this family has really caused a lot of chaos. I'm going to tell you, a lot of chaos. Um, and a lot of death. And I put this up so you can see it, how they moved and they branded a church to fool people, um, because it really got violent, very violent, and a lot of deaths, including the recent one of the women and children that were killed too. So, um, you can read it right there in 2019, the Labaron massacre. Um, yes, and the brother that you saw in the video, he was also killed. So yeah, they and oh gosh, and they were. I'm going to turn this off so I can talk without being distracted. They were involved in a film with a guy named Rainier. Rainier is in prison right now for taking girls from the Labaron colony, recruiting them up to New York to their compound there. There was a few of them. So you're talking about lots of girls. Lots of girls. Okay. And the purpose was education, okay? Grooming. Who were these girls? I would like to know their names. I would really like to know their names. And I wouldn't want to put them public, but there's been so many that have grown up to be cold-blooded, um, in this case, cold-blooded traps, honey traps. Is that what they were grooming them for? That's why I want to know. Was this like the honey trap for the rainbow? Because they have the rainbow name. The honey trap for key officials like judges, like DPS directors, like uh, DAs, prosecutors, like politicians, like leaders of conservative movements, leaders of uh, other political movements. Uh, what were these girls being trained to do? Because they were being groomed, and there were lots of them. And they went all the way up to either Washington State, Canada, New York. I've had other people tell me other places. And this court case, this video that Julian Labaron is seen in was a recruiting video. And that is not me saying it. That's the courts saying that this was a movie that was a recruiting movie, and just the trailers are left on, on YouTube. Um, so, what is this telling me? It's telling me that this pipeline um, was very active, and it involved the leadership the leadership exploiting the people and exploiting even their own people. And that it corroborates what we know as fact in our son's case, which is this philanthropist, Mormon faction, cartel, El Paso cartel, in alliance with the Mexican cartel, transnational trafficking network, loads of money, and they absolutely went after our government structures to protect themselves. If they are the FBI, if they are the DA, if they are the police, if they are the teachers, if they are any kind, the judges, and they're in the back pocket, they can operate with impunity. So, this is why, people are constantly telling me, why aren't they arrested? Why aren't they arrested? Who's going to arrest them? Their brother? Their customer? Who's going to arrest them? Who's in the FBI? I mean, Connell Wenton's in the FBI there? Who's going to arrest them? Who is the sheriff? Who's the sheriff's connected to? With all of this embezzlement money? What politician is going to do the congressional hearing on exposing them? With all the foundation money, they say they're philanthropists, quote unquote, because they're the ones giving the universities and the colleges and the media and everything money. So that's how you know that what we're doing is absolutely on target and honest, because the media doesn't want to say Halliday. They don't want to say Richard Halliday. No, they don't. And so, and we have what, 49,000 just on Facebook followers, millions of views. And, you know, it's big, because Richard's case is absolutely intertwined with the Walmart mass shooting case, with the Mayellas and the guy in Brazil that just got put in jail for over 600 years for the baby farms and the terrible crimes against women. Then you have Richard's case entwined with the Julio Cordero, the most decorated FBI agent in El Paso history, proven by the fact that he was the lead FBI agent for the Poison Ponds operation that resulted in a raid of the El Paso courthouse. Wowzer, wowzer! I want a reenactment of that, a 2.0, absolutely, and over 40 officials arrested. Julio Cordero is a hero, and he got shot by an El Paso ISD police officer, just shooting in the dark, and the whole thing is tampered, and they won't release the body cam footage, and is so many irregularities in it, and I'll be going over that more, but I mean, it is stinky. That's what I can tell you. Julio Cordero's investigate the unjust killing of Julio Cordero and the whole investigation. And it's the same people. It's the same people involved in Richard's case and the Walmart case. It's the same people. And it is stinky. And the Walmart case is stinky. And Richard's case is stinky. And where is the coverage? Because this is huge news, especially when it comes to Zorro Ranch and El Paso uh, involvement in all of this with Beto O'Rourke and La Diabla and on and on. There's so many reasons to cover the story, but they don't want to say Richard Halliday's name. They just can't say Richard Halliday's name. But that's coming to an end, y'all. That's coming to an end. So thank you so much, everybody, for oh my goodness, look at Ria. Thank you so much for coming on. God bless you. Sherry, thank you so much. Yes. And Catherine, yes. And Laura, thank you so much. Okay, I know it's late and we will be back tomorrow, God willing.